perspective or lens or point of view we have going on, it depends how we're going to receive our life experience, how we're going to create our life experience. And so we need to remember that we're always choosing, whether we're aware of it or not. And so the work is to get really clear with our vision, with our inner sight about how it is that we're showing up in life and what it is that we want to create as a life experience. And so something that came across my purview just today was this quote, this post by Jim Carrey, which was on someone's feed. I don't even know who it was. I'm not even sure who I'm following sometimes, but it appeared, and I'm like, this is great. I really, really appreciate this, because the older he gets, the more philosophical he seems to get, and the more contemplative he seems to get, and the more he comes out with these things that make me go, whoa, or like, whoa, but I kind of disagree. Anyway, so today, this is part of what I saw, and it has to do with, it's the meditation quote that we had, which is taken out of the big chunk of the post. Life is so beautiful, especially when I'm absent from it. Okay, right at the beginning. What? Life is so beautiful, especially when I'm absent from it. So just let that kind of, percolate for a bit. Don't get me wrong. Jim Carrey is a great character, and I was lucky to get the part, but I don't think of that as me anymore. And so right off the bat here, I appreciate what he is saying, but I'm going to sort of hone in on the word lucky, because I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in chance. I don't believe in randomness. The way that I am where I am right now with my level of awareness and consciousness, I believe in what we teach in Science of Mind and New Thought, is that there is order, there is structure, there is harmony to everything. So even though something may seem chaotic, even though we may not understand something, there is some kind of order and design to it. And it's ours to sort of open up to what that might be. So I was lucky to get the part, but I don't think of that as me anymore. He chose to come into this life as Jim Carrey, okay? That was his fortune. I used to be a guy who was experiencing the world, and now I feel like the world and universe experiencing a God. So there's kind of been a shift. This is a really cool shift in perspective, and this is something that for me is like my most important work, to continually remind myself that even though I am in this human body, even though I am living what seems like a finite life experience of being born to dying at some point, that underneath all that, behind all that, within all that, there is this energy, there is this creativity, there is this spirit, there is God, there is love, whatever it is, that's who and what I truly am. And so I get plenty of reminders every single day to remind me of my seeing limitations. And when I do, when I'm really focused, then what I do, or my work to do, is to remind myself that I am bigger than that. I am more powerful than that perceived limitation. I am so much bigger, more powerful, more creative, more infinite than any of the thoughts I have, than any of the beliefs I hold dear, any of the feelings that I might feel, any of the experiences that I've had. And I believe that to be true for every single one of us, every moment of every day. And so here I love that he has had this perspective shift where he appreciates what he has done and who he has been up until now. But there came a moment, maybe there were several moments, but there came a time in his life where he opened up and broadened his perspective, going back to last week, to see himself as so much more than just every single thought, belief, feeling, experience that had gotten him to where he was in that moment. So he continues to say, and this is the quote from the meditation, that peace that we're after lies beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. He says, you can join the game, fight the wars, play with form, all you want, ... And when I read this part, I thought, play with form, all you want. This reminds me of that shadow on the wall analogy that I love to talk about so much. If there's a shadow on the wall that is displeasing you, that you're not happy with, that you want to change, if you try and fiddle with the shadow on the wall, you're never going to have any kind of success. What you need to attend to is the thing that is casting the shadow on the wall, right? Get to the source, get to the root. And when you attend to this, then the shadow that is going to be cast on the wall is going to be more in keeping with what you want. So what he's saying here is, you can think about all the thoughts, all the experiences, all the stuff that is going on, all the relationships in your life, and I'm not saying that they don't require our attention. But what he's saying is, you can focus on all that stuff that you want, but until you let that go, until you turn within and focus on who and what you truly are, then it's going to continue to feel like effort. And so we even have to let go, kind of like David Hawkins, let go of the effort itself. So this morning, I was in my last Aramaic Jesus class for this year. Neil did tell us that he's doing another longer, more intensive thing in January. But for today was the last class. And one of the things that came up just a few minutes before we ended was someone asked him about how do we apply these translations, these Aramaic translations of the Lord's Prayer to our daily life. And the person who was asking was specifically asking about when there's all this stuff going on in the world, you know, whether it's Russia and Ukraine, whether it is Palestine and Israel, whether it is something happening in your own life, whether it is the thoughts in your head that are driving you crazy, how do you apply these things that we have just learned, the chants, the nuanced translations from Aramaic rather than Hebrew or Latin or Greek? And so he reminded us of lines 7 and 8 in the Lord's Prayer, which are Wela kachlan lenesyuna ela patsan nimbisha. I just love saying that. It's just like such cool language. And those are the lines that translate into, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And so typically, if you take this at face value, then what it can seem like is that there's some kind of energy, there's some kind of entity, there's some kind of badness that exists outside of us, and we don't want to get sucked into that. So help us, save us, teach us, show us the way. But in a very dualistic way, that there's something outside of us that could affect us, and that there's something outside of us that would be the thing to save us. But according to the Aramaic translation, what they actually mean is, do not let us enter chronic forgetfulness of soul, of source, but release us from acting unrightly, not in tune with self's healthy purpose. Shortened, he's basically saying, and this is Neil Douglas Watts translating Aramaic from what Jesus would have said, remember who you are. Remember who you are and live as that. Show up as that. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in the minutia or the mishigosh, which is what Neil used today, of the day-to-day. It's going to happen. Just don't let yourself get caught up in it. Don't get yourself get tangled and enmeshed. You can navigate all of that stuff as who and what you truly are. Because who and what you truly are, who and what we all are, is infinitely more powerful, creative, and resilient than any of that stuff, any of the form that Jim Carrey is talking about, any of the unripeness that we might experience, anything that isn't in tune with our self's healthy purpose. And so back to the Jim Carrey quote, the end of it, he writes, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor fall. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. So for those who are here at the end of the meditation, I ask at the meditation, I invite you to consider, what are you willing to risk to be seen in all your glory? For the glory that you are, to just shine out into the world. Are you willing to risk failure? Are you willing to look stupid? Are you willing to be told you're wrong, you don't know how to do it? Are you willing to let go of everything that has gotten you to this moment, right here, right now, so that you can open up to a new, different, more expansive, infinite version of who and what you truly are? And if you're not willing, are you willing to be willing? That's the bridge. Okay? To be willing to be willing. So my talk title for today is, I can see clearly anytime. Okay? Because we are always a choice. We're always choosing what it is that we're focusing on. We're choosing whether we look at those obstacles that are seemingly in our way and see them as obstacles and see them as getting in the way and see them as from preventing what it is we want to do, or we see them as gifts and opportunities or just information that we can move around or over or under or through. The choice is ours, nobody else's. So anytime we can choose to see clearly, anytime. It's not dependent on this beautiful, bright, sunshiny day that we're experiencing. It's dependent on what is going on in our mind, the inner sight, the vision that we hold. If we clear away all the perspectives, all the forms, all the different lenses through which we view and experience our life, we get down to who and what we truly are. And that vision, man, when we're clear, everything looks different. So to finish off, I normally have some questions for you, but I actually want to read questions from this book that was gifted to me by Sherry, who was here, Ceremony by Brianna Wiest. And as I was flipping through this today, thinking, is there something in here that I can offer? This stood out like crazy. So these are the questions that I would love for you to take with you as you move out into the coming hours, days, and week ahead. What if there is a path for you that is greater than what you can envision? What if there is a life for you that is more than you would even know to ask for? What if you are inherently and unknowingly limited by your old perspectives, your outdated ideas of what is possible? What if all the discomfort within your being is simply trying to redirect you to a place beyond anything you've considered before? What if there is more than you know? What if there are things out there so good you don't even know you're waiting for them? So as we move into the coming hours, days, and week ahead, I invite you to really, really open your eyes, open your heart, open your inner eye, your inner ear, everything, and remember who you truly are. And when you move through life from moment to moment to moment, let go of all of the stuff. Even if you think like it's helping me, it's good, I can hang on to it, be willing to let go. Because when you let go, there is nothing that stands in the way. And then you can truly say, I can see clearly anytime. Thank you, and so it is.